morning to all of you watching this morning for Morning Devo. And I had the very lovely First Lady, Pastor Joey, in the house today. So, say good morning.
Good morning. It's good to have each and every one of you tuning in today. Make sure you like and share the broadcast. Say hi. Say hello where you're watching from.
Do it.
And we are just glad to spend the morning with you today.
Yes,
hey,
we
Tina
are.
Marie.
Hey, Chris. Good morning to you. Have you taken a moment as you're jumping on, say good morning. Champ family, good morning to you. We got many of you jumping on, but don't be a silent watcher. Say good morning like Samantha just did.
Stephen
with the good.
How was your vacation,
morning.
Stephen?
How was it? Hope you had a great time.
Trip in Virginia.
Yes. So
good.
It's good to see you jumping on today. I'm going to go ahead and share. Hey, if you're on, say good morning. We'd love to hear from you today. And I just shared. Did you share? You're a step behind.
If you're watching on YouTube,
where are you
say
at
hello
today?
as well. We love to hear from our YouTubers.
YouTube it up. It was great. It's great and relaxing. And Lem just outdid Stefan. He just won the Good Morning competition. But now he knows, and you lost, Stefan. I just want to tell you that because you're very competitive. You needed to hear that today. Good morning, Justine. There's a YouTube watcher right there. Rochelle, good morning to you.
Keep a smile.
You got to. You got the joy of the Lord that is your strength today.
Prayers for New York today as we remember 9/11.
Yes.
For sure.
All the families. And replying. Good morning, Lauren. Great to see you on. She's getting a good laugh. And Lem put up his bicep. Looks like your bicep, Lem, in real life, but cartoonized. So,
Real Stefan.
Yeah, that's good. Good
Wow.
to see you.
Yeah, 9/11. You know, I feel like we didn't realize at the time what a defining moment that was for our nation. And
I remember where I was.
everything is kind of like pre 9/11, post 9/11, as far as a lot of things changed on that day. But yeah, I remember it was just a pivotal moment for America. So we're praying for families. We're praying for our nation today. Believing God to do amazing things in America. So
that's it. Well, I second that, Chris, and I am loving this church as well. We had Stephen Erskine, the real Stephen. That's not the Greek pronunciation. That's great. So, we are going to jump into the Word, and I'm excited about this topic. It is titled today, Why You're Not Reaching Your Goals and What You Can Do About It. Let's jump into the Word today and look at it. Number one reason, this isn't like a countdown, but point number one, I should say. Point number one of why you're not reaching your goals and what to do about it is you actually have no goals. You have no goals. You're just kind of going through life and you're just hoping some good things happen to you. You're just kind of hoping like life or things are handed to you. Here's the thing, a dream without goals will just lead you to frustration. Mm-hmm. Put that up. A dream without goals simply leads to frustration. So, again, you have no goals. You're just hoping for something good to happen. You don't really know why you exist or your purpose. And that face right there, the Emoji Surprise one, is where a lot of people walk through life with, just kind of like hoping something happens.
Yeah, just that mentality, like, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be. Whatever is going to happen is going to unfold in my life. And, I was just thinking about that this morning as we're getting ready to go into prayer and fasting corporately at Champion. Just like with prayer, you have to believe that your prayers make a difference or you're not going to pray. If you don't believe that, if you just think anything's just going to happen and your prayers don't really matter and whatever's going to unfold for the nation, and then you're not going to be motivated to pray. In the same way, if we don't believe that God has a divine purpose for our lives, then we're not going to establish goals. We're just going to live like, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. If I'm going to stumble into success or, what you don't realize is nobody stumbles into success.
That's good.
That there's always a plan that accompanies it.
That's it. Good to see you, Rhea and Kadar, jumping on today. Those of you watching today, don't forget to say good morning. Don't forget to throw up some comments. What dream do you, what is a goal you have this year? I'd like to hear some of your goals that you're still wanting to see. And if you can't put anything up, that's a good point this morning that, if you can't list a goal or if you don't have something, then you need to come up with something. You need to pray about it and you say, God, what are some things that I need to set some goals that are going to lead me to seeing my dream fulfilled. Because once again, if you have no goals, if you don't have goals, your dream will never really become a reality to you. And so you need to have some specific markers of what you desire God to do. And really that's where faith comes in too. You set some goals that really are going to stretch you, going to grow you, going to force you into growing, of being a better student of that area you're in, or whatever it looks like. It's going to force you to begin to move. And that's what I love about goals is it causes you to move in a specific direction with intentionality. So that you're going to be forced to grow in what God's called you to do. Yeah, so many times we compartmentalize like leadership and then spirituality, but really goal setting is a huge act of faith. And what it is it's just you praying and hearing from God and really deciphering what that vision is that He's put into your heart and then getting a plan of action to walk in it. The Bible talks about faith in action, and that's what goal setting is. It's putting feet to your faith and saying, you know what, this is the action step that I can do. A lot of times we're waiting on God and God's waiting on us to start making a move. I like to say our faith oftentimes is motion activated, just like those motion censored doors. That when you start walking, then you start to see things open up for you. So good. Jeff Hancher on board this morning, believing 70% of our adult congregation will be on a dream team by the end of this calendar year. Let's go. Let's go, champs. Let's do it. I love seeing some of those goals that are going up today, preaching more churches, promotion. And then, really, one of the things that we want to talk about, point number 2, is sometimes one of the reasons why people don't reach a goal is their goal is too broad. The goal is too broad. It's not really focused like, hey, I just want to make more money. Well, that's not really specific, Now, being specific would be, I want to make, say 5,000 more, 10,000 more, whatever that looks like. And then it's working towards that with specifics, like I want to save $5,000. Well, what would that take? What would that mean for you practically speaking? So again, point number 2, why people don't reach their goals is it's too broad. Or, I just want to be great. Like, all right, not really specific at all. And I'm sure, we'll probably talk about it in just a moment, but, there's a great acrostic, it's from the acrostic SMART that really helps you even be more. One of the things is being specific. So I think a lot of times people get so broad that then they don't really have a target to hit. Yeah, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and we were talking about goals and just, really taking ground in 2020. And, it was funny because they were sharing their goals with me, and they're like, I'm frustrated because these goals haven't happened. And I'm like, those are horrible goals. Like, I was close enough to this person to way say it. Broad. Like, those are way too broad. Like, how are you going to do that? What are the action steps? Because, it's nice to say, I want this to happen. And you're kind of like making a wish. Like, I wish things would be different.
But when you get specific with your goals, you're pinpointing and targeting them, and then you can come up with a God plan to see them happen. So they have to be specific, that they have to have something attached to them that is specific, whether it's a number or a measurement or a timeline, so that really you can break it down. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you tackle 2020 in your goals? One step at a time. And so your goal has to be specific enough that you can get a plan of action. If not, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to say, wow, that's, you know, how am I going to do that? You should be able to answer the question, how is this going to come to pass in my life?
So quickly, I want to give you a couple of key verses this morning. Proverbs 29:18 says, without a vision, the people perish. In other words, you're created to do something for God. You know, if you're just waiting for things to happen, you don't have these goals. Or like I said, maybe you have a dream to do something, but if you don't have goals, you'll never see the dream fulfilled. And so that's such an important key. The second thing I want you to see is go with me to 1 Corinthians 9:25. And this is something that Paul gave us. As a matter of fact, let's go to 1 Corinthians 9:20. We'll start in verse 24 here. And here's what the Bible says. Don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize? So run to win. For all athletes are disciplined in their training. Think about all these things. We're talking right now about being too broad. So broad, we accomplish nothing and we're not effective. The more focused you can become, the more effective you can become in what you're called to do. And here's what he says. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So what do? Listen to what he says here. So I run with purpose in every step. That's what we're talking about right now.
That's right.
So, you know, just because you can do everything doesn't mean you should be doing everything.
That's right.
And here's the thing, God has graced us all in different ways. If we learn to identify the grace of God on one another's life, and we learn to honor and esteem that grace, then you'll stay in your lane, I'll stay in my lane, and we'll accomplish more for the kingdom. And so we're all anointed to do something great. We're all graced by God to do something that will see ultimately God's kingdom move forward, our goals reached, the dream accomplished, and everybody wins, not just some people. And so I love what Paul's saying here is he's talking about a race. And he's not talking, when he's talking about it, he's saying, you know, when they run to win. So they're very focused. You know, a runner is not focused on being an MMA fighter, you know, and vice versa. There was a focus and an intentionality. And I love this part where he says, so I run with purpose in every step.
So good. So good. You know, when it comes to goal setting, running with purpose, you know, I think about, and we're going to talk about reviewing our goals, but, you know, when you run with purpose, like you've made these commitments to yourself of things that you feel like God is telling you to do. And, you know, that's a huge part of it. I feel like people don't maybe, you know, really believe God for their goals because they're like, is that God? Is that me? But whenever, you know, you're walking with the Lord, we talk about this all the time, He'll give you the desire in your heart. So, you know, that desire becomes a vision, which then is broken down into goals, and you can be very specific with it. You focus in on it. And so, you know, your 2020 then isn't just all over the place. It's with an assignment. You know, you can still be making progress. You can still, I think of Genesis 26, you know, when Isaac was actually making progress in a time of famine, even though 2020 hasn't been, you know, in the natural favorable year, that you could still make progress if you live your life in a way that you're still going after your goals and really, you know, believing God for those things. It's targeting in faith, running with purpose, on purpose, saying, you know, I'm going to direct my faith to this one thing. I'm going to attack this thing with my faith and see it come to pass in my life. And, you know, it could be something as simple as personal goals to job goals, career goals, to ministry goals, whatever that looks like, weight goals in your life, you know. And really being purposeful is important. I was looking at my goals the other day, and I was like, I need to start reading more because I need to hit my goal. And so that, that's a promise that I've made with myself that I want to see that happen. And so as I continue to grow, then I feel confident, I feel, accomplished. And so really being on purpose with your goals in your life is really a great way to be able to even progress in times that are unfavorable in the natural.
And I think you having to learn to adapt it in every season, something's going to look a little bit different. How you started, how we started the church is not where we are today. And so, you've got to constantly evolve and develop yourself in what God's called you to do. As some of you are watching today, maybe you're watching today, you're a mother. And so, maybe one of your goals is to be a better mother, okay? So what does that look like? Maybe it's taking intentional time with your child or with your children or one-on-ones with them. See, that would be a way to break it down instead of just saying, like, I want to be a good parent.
Yeah.
So, it's my goal would be is to be a better parent, but this is how I'm going to reach my goal. It's not so broad. Dave mentioned another really good point is a lot of times people make too many goals.
Yeah.
And really you should have maybe 7 to 10 at most for a year, and then really you could be even more specific in trying to accomplish those. These 3 I'm going to focus on this quarter, and that it can really get really developed. But it's just how intentional you want to be about that. But start simple. Start with 2 to 3 if you're just tuning in. I know some of you said one of my goals is to have a goal for the year. So that's a great goal. You can do that.
And that's where vision comes in, like using the example of being a better mom. That's so broad, but when you could say, what does that look like? And a lot of times you're going to be able to pinpoint it through your frustration.
That's good.
There's a fuel.
Say that again. That's really good.
You're going to be able to pinpoint your goals through your frustrations. There's a fuel that comes with frustration. I just did a Mrs. Rev podcast on it. That frustration becomes a fuel to you for change. So you could say, okay, when it comes to the area of parenting, when it comes to the area of finances, when it comes to the area of my career, what are the things that are constantly frustrating me? And then you start to break them down and attack them through goal setting to switch things around. So maybe as a parent, you're like, I'm frustrated because, I'm never spending any quality time with my kids. So then you make it a goal to spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes of quality time with your kids. So you're making it tangible. You're saying, okay, 20 minutes a day, it's my goal.
I can do that.
And so what are the things at night that you go to bed and you're frustrated about? What are the things that at the end of a year you're frustrated about that never happened, and really start to pinpoint them and make them your goals?
Yeah, and I love that, because everybody's goals are going to look a little bit different. Some of you, it might be getting in physical shape, getting in good shape, taking care of your body. And so, that might be an area, maybe it's your spiritual life. And so if you can learn to take intentional steps and make it specific, like don't just say I want to read the Bible more this year. Maybe say I want to read through the Bible, I want to read through the New Testament, or I want to read 10 minutes a day. Whatever it is, just be more specific, and that'll help you reach your goal and be intentional about accomplishing those things. But one of the things that I think is so important is, and Paul really drew this out, is learning just to live your life on purpose. Learning that from that place, I'm going to take intentionality about my day. I'm not going to let my day determine what it looks like. And I feel like too many people go around in life and just wait for things to happen for them instead of taking action and making things happen. What is your day? You being intentional to make what your day looks like, and really being able to focus in on those goals and not get too broad is a key.
And multitasking. If you know that a goal is on your forefront, see the difference is, if my goal is to read 12 books this year, that's a great goal. But if I'm not always thinking about it, then I'm not assigning my time accordingly. So what I mean by that is this: there's lots of extra time in our day. Everyone has the same 24 hours. It just depends on how we use them. So if I'm not thinking about my goal to read more, then I'm not going to throw on an audiobook while I'm putting away laundry or while I'm in the car. So there's different ways to assign your time to serve your goals. A lot of times we serve our time in the sense of we let our day dictate us or drive us, or I have to go to soccer, I have to do this, I have to do laundry, and all of a sudden we're not accomplishing anything of purpose. But we can actually assign our time and live on purpose.
That's it. Let's go to point number 3 today. Point number 3 today is you keep putting off to tomorrow what you can do today. You keep putting off to tomorrow what you can do today. And so I want you to see this because it's such a key in your life. Help us throw up that point today. And as we keep putting these things in place today, you know, Ecclesiastes 11:4, it says it like this. Ecclesiastes 11:4, throw it up in the notes. Whoever watches the wind will not plant. You know, I was thinking about it. It would be a cool sermon title, Watching the Wind. Isn't that good? Whoever watches the wind will not plant, and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. Isn't that such a great scripture? Whoever watches the wind will not plant, and whoever looks at the clouds will not reap. In other words, you're waiting for everything to just be so perfect, and you keep putting off to tomorrow what you can do today. Well, you know, it's not ideal right now. It's not ideal to work on my physical health. Well, you know, if you just walk down the street and walk back, you know, start somewhere. You know, start small. Even if it's something small, you're still working towards that goal.
Yeah, I was astonished when I started working out with a physical trainer that we would be working for 20 minutes. The amount of training I got done in 20 minutes, I would look at her and be like, is the hour done yet? And she's like, no, it's only been 20 minutes. But do you know what that made me realize? It made me realize how much I can accomplish in 20 minutes. So that means if your goal is writing, write for 20 minutes. So many times we think, and we make it such a big thing in our heads that we push it off. We find any other excuse. Trust me, I know. Yeah. If I feel like there's something that I don't want to do, I will do anything else. I'll clean the house 10 times before I get to that thing. Because, you know, we keep putting it off because it's such a block in our head. Like, this goal seems so big and it seems like such a big task. But you have to give God something to bless.
That's it.
You have to give him something to work with. So, you know, if you just start for 20 minutes, whether that's exercise or reading or writing, whatever your skill is, your goal is, working towards it even 20 minutes a day, you would be surprised. You waste 20 minutes. I promise you, you waste 20 minutes, whether you're on your phone, whether you're just doing something senseless. So don't, you know, there will always be an excuse. And your flesh always goes towards the path of least resistance. So that means if there's an excuse, your flesh is going to take it. So you have to be disciplined enough to do what
and I think that's a big part of it, is that discipline. Matter of fact, in Hebrews 12:11, you could throw it up. Hebrews 12:11, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it's painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. It produces, what is he saying? The right harvest. It produces the right things in your life by what? By what? Disciplining yourself to make sure that you don't just keep putting it off. You don't just keep procrastination. Procrastinating. Procrastination is one of the biggest goal dream killers because you just keep putting it off.
I grew up, my dad used to always tell me on the way to school, procrastination is the assassination of time. Okay, that was like drilled in me when I was younger. Procrastination is the assassination of time. So
I like it.
It's a time killer.
Just sounds so violent. Yes.
But so true. You know, I think about the Apostle Paul. You know, how disciplined he was. He said he buffets his body daily. He trains as though he's an athlete.
That's good.
Training for an Olympic gold medal. And so, you know, when you actually, you know, move into that realm of discipline, doing what you do, even when you don't feel like doing it, then that's when things start to change in your life. That you start to override what you feel in the natural by what you know God is calling you to do. And that's why, you know, it's so important, I feel like, to have that spiritual conviction with your goals. That understanding, like we talked about on point one, that God does have a purpose for me, and I live with that knowledge, and I want to accomplish that purpose. Then you become more disciplined to do that, to steward for the kingdom.
So good. Great stat Jeff threw up. The average person spends at least 2.5 hours. That's the average. So you got to know that people are spending more time, and you know, sometimes it'd be good for you to just kind of journal your day. Time block your day. Look at what you're doing.
Yeah.
Write it down. Like for the past 2 hours, I just looked at my Instagram and Facebook account.
Well, it'll measure on the phone, and you would be surprised when you turn on your measurements to see how much screen time you're using.
Do you ever get those updates weekly?
Yeah, I'm like, no, that can't be right. But think about it. Like when you start measuring, even like if you're on a diet, sometimes we're on a diet and we're like, how am I not losing weight? And then you start tracking, and you're like, oh, that's why. You know,
that Skinny
I'm
Pop.
not supposed to get that many calories.
That whole bag of Skinny Pop actually adds up to a lot of calories.
But we can trick and we can fool ourselves into thinking that we just can't, when actually you can. It's just a matter of getting disciplines.
That's right. So, what are you going to do today? I want to see some comments today. What is it you're going to do today? What are you going to do today? What is it? What is something you have planned today that you're like, man, I'm doing this today. I'm going to invest into my leadership. I'm going to invest into my spiritual life. I'm going to invest into my physical. What is it that you're going to do today that's going to help you not put it off to tomorrow? And let's take a look. I know you're going to start throwing those up in just a few moments, but let's take a look at the next point number 4, about why you're not reaching your goals and what to do about it. Point number 4, you forgot about them. How many people at the beginning of a year start off so well? They start with these New Year's resolution, and there are so many stats out there. Within a matter of weeks, the majority of people fall off the New Year's resolution and having these goals for the year. And very few people stick to them because I think a lot of times they forget about them. And so one of the ways that you can help to not forget about your goals, you want to share this? Because you mentioned it earlier.
To keep reviewing them, write them down.
Review
Look at them daily, speak over them. Don't let them just go away.
That's it.
I think sometimes we think we check it off, like made goals, check. But actually, there's another part to that, and that's seeing those goals throughout the year. And so, really keeping them before you, because one thing that does, I know in my life, is it keeps me on track. Not only doing the things that I need to do daily to meet those goals. Listen, there is something that comes when you meet goals. I can't even explain it to you other than saying there's like a self-integrity that you made a promise to yourself, and that builds your confidence, that builds your drive. So, when you hit those goals, you're looking at them and saying, okay, these are the things that I need to do to hit this goal. Not only that, but listen, there is an element of faith that's involved in every goal that you make. There's some things on my goal list that only God can do. You were just asking me the other day, you were like, how many of your personal goals have come to pass? And I was like, a lot of them, but this one particular thing is going to be a God thing. And, my responsibility in that is just to keep believing and speaking to it.
That's good. And I like that you have some things, even within that context of, the acrostic SMART, be specific. One of the things is, make sure it's attainable. But I think there needs to be some of those God-sized things that, like you said, where like it is impossible for me to obtain that dream or see that goal come to pass, but I'm going to exercise my faith in that area, because in the natural it's impossible, but because you don't just want to set like so many unrealistic goals, because then you're just going to get so frustrated, but you do need to set some God-sized goals that like you're exercising your faith and you're going to see God do the supernatural.
Right, and I have 5 personal goals, 5 ministry or life goals, and out of those 5, one on each side of my goal list is a God-sized goal.
That's good.
And so, just continue, and then keeping the vision before you. Like you read before, without vision, your people will perish.
That's it.
Keeping that vision, what you behold, you become. So, as you're reading through those goals, like envisioning yourself accomplishing it will continue to help those goals come to pass in your life.
That's good. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2, and the Lord answered me and says, write down the vision. Isn't it interesting? Even all of these things that we're talking about today are so woven throughout the Word of God that if you will just ingest the Word and do what the Word says, you will begin to rise, develop, grow, and you'll begin to accomplish some great things. You know, he says this, write it down, make it plain on tablets, so those that read it, or he who reads it, may run with it. Listen to what he goes on, he says, for the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it will surely come to pass. It will not be delayed. What a great word. God is saying, write it down. Listen to what he's saying. Write it down, read it, and then actually the person that was running with it, what he would do is he would run from town to town, and he would actually declare the vision. So write it down, he was saying. He was saying the next thing you need to do after you write it down, he said, run with it. So that's something that he's meditating on, he's thinking about. And then the last thing is he's declaring that word or that vision. And so that is a great way to keep it before us so we're not forgetting, because too many people made some things in January and then, they forgot about them already. But if you do that today, write it down. You should be able to write it down, because writing it down will force you to articulate what it is that goal is towards your ultimate dream.
To revisit it, and then speaking it and declaring it. What I do is when I declare over my goals and I speak them aloud, then, you can line up your declarations out of God's word to line up and support those goals to come to pass in your life. So you might feel inadequate, to write a book or whatever, but you can declare, I have the mind of Christ. I can do all things through Christ Jesus. So whenever you line up your declarations and alignment with your goals, there's a spiritual strength that comes from that. I always tell myself, if people in the world, business people, actors, all these people that we hear attain these amazing goals, if they can do it, I am a child of God. I have the Spirit of God in me. How much more am I going to do it? So declaring in faith what God says to accomplish my goals. Come on.
I love it. Love seeing all the goals. Love seeing all what we're going to do today. But write this down in this specific area, because I think it's so key. It's right out of the Word. And that's write it down, read it, and then speak it. Those are three things in Habakkuk 2, verse 2 we see. He said, write it down, make it plain, so he who runs with it reads it, and then he begins to speak it.
Amen.
Write it down, read it, speak it, get it out, and that repetition too is going to bring about a greater resolve in your life, because then you're like, man, I need to do this. I keep talking about it, and I got to do this,
Yeah, and just this morning you asked me, you were like, man, you said, I'm so proud of you that you've accomplished most of your goals. And you're like, what do you have left? And I rattled off a list. You're like, wait a second, I thought you said this was going to be a great year. But it was because I'm projected to do it, because I'm keeping it in front of me. So, it's good.
That's good. That's good. So love some of the goals that are going up. Samantha, believing with you for it. Let's take a look at the last key that we're going to talk about, why you're not reaching your goals and what to do about it. Number 5 is you lack a plan.
Ouch.
You lack a plan, something that is intentional. Matter of fact, go with us to Luke 14, verse 28. Jesus addresses this person who had a lack of plan or lack of planning in their life. Luke 14, and let's start in verse 28. But don't begin building this house until you count the cost. For who would begin the construction of a building without first planning and calculating the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? Otherwise, you might complete only the foundation before running out of money, and then everyone would laugh at you. They would say, there's a person who started that building and couldn't afford to finish it or didn't plan it out. So again, Jesus is teaching that, there should be a plan in place. There should be something in place in your life that is very intentional to make sure that you're taking these practical steps towards accomplishing the goal.
That's right. That's right. You know, we've all heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's right, Tina Marie. So, you know, when you lack a plan, whether that's, you know, I even break it down to like Bible reading, even with our kids. They're like, you know, we don't even know where to read the Bible. I'm so tired of people saying that they're not growing in their Bible knowledge because they don't know where to start. Make a plan, assign a time, read a chapter. Say, I'm going to read a chapter a week.
Read a book, read a chapter,
with a plan.
Do something.
That's right. And so when you make a plan, you know, you actually have action steps to take to move towards your goal and what God has called you to do.
That's it. So planning things out, you know, even something as simple as planning out your day. What are you doing with that? How are you being intentional? And does that line up with the goals that you're believing God for and ultimately towards the dream? And so, you know, just learning to put those things in place is going to help you maximize your life, and you're going to make impact. You're going to continue to accomplish great things for God as you do these things.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of times, you know, we think that goal setting and planning and making a plan for our day is just for like CEOs and business people. But, you know, I tell moms all the time, like, plan out your day. Assign your time block, time manage, so that you don't always feel overwhelmed. One of the greatest things planning does is it takes away and alleviates the stress of always feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, feeling like you're not enough. So when you really take time to plan out your week, plan out your meals for the week, plan out, you know, what days you're going to clean what room of your house. I mean, you can plan down to the details of your life, and it really alleviates stress, and it increases your capacity to really grow and be used for the purposes of the kingdom.
So good today. Well, what a great day. What a great day. And if you'll just these are just some keys to making sure that you ensure that you're reaching your goals and you're seeing that your dreams fulfilled, you're seeing things move forward in your life, you're growing as an individual, and the areas that you're believing for are being accomplished one step at a time. Listen, just take one step. Just do something today towards your goal, toward what it is you're called to do, and God will bless it. God blesses the work of our hands, not the good intentions of our heart. So remember that today. Yes, remember that today. It's something that you should run with today. Run with that vision. Run with what God's called you to do, and you're going to see some greater things unfold. Well, what a great time in God's presence today. Listen, if this broadcast blessed you, help us out this morning. Go ahead and share the broadcast. Share this. Let somebody else hear it as you share it. Some of your friends, some of your family are going to be blessed by it. Help us out this morning. Share the broadcast. The second thing you can do today is sow into this ministry. If this ministry is blessing you and you're receiving from it, you can hit #donate right now. Sow a seed that will reap a blessing in your life. The second thing you can do is go to championcenter.com. You can give there as well. But we thank you in advance for sowing into the Word, sowing into this ministry. And thank you for being a part, Champ family. Love seeing all you on here today and growing in what God's called us to grow in and accomplishing some great things.
Yeah, we're believing God that this is going to be your best year ever. So set your goals, move towards your goals, speak them, and believe God for them. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great. So get ready for some great things ahead. God's blessing is on you today. We love you so much, Champion family. We're so grateful to be with you this morning for Morning Devo. God bless you. And remember this, God has set you up to be a champion in this life. We'll see you real soon.